I think we should never let our guards down in all of the enemies in the United States and the world. They may play stupid sometimes or may do things that don't make any sense, for example. It could be done an intentional thing because they have a backup plan or a double backup plan. Remember, there's always a plan A, B, C, and all. We don't know what their thinking or strategy is. While it looks stupid or irresponsible or senseless, there could be more to it. Is what I want you to think about this. Okay. This is not a matter about Republicans versus the Democrats, the Democrats, whatever you call them, that are in power. They've all colluded. They could have had a secret meeting, for all you know, in the United States, and in outside the United States. We don't know who all the people that they're dealing with, but we know that they're dealing with all kinds of evil people in that with money and power. So you have to be always more than one step ahead of them, and you have to be much smarter than them. Let's not take these bastards for fools. I've been calling Biden dumb Joey. He by himself, yeah, he is that, but with the backing and the support that he's getting, there's the problem. Okay? And you better believe that, dumb Joey knows what's going on. He may actually play stupid sometimes, and he is, but he's not that stupid. Okay? He still has his wits about him enough to know what the hell's going on. They have to let him know since he's the front runner. But they're going to pull him sooner or later. We don't know after the election. What are they planning to do? Here's the thing that I think, and once again, it's a theory. I have no evidence to support it, and I may be wrong, and I hope to be wrong. 10 days of darkness is not just to keep people in the dark physically, but as you already knew, to keep them dark every other way, in that state of ignorance that, they really don't know what's happening. I hear him telling, another person, one who has my channel, the other doesn't, and I'm saying it's a hoax. Now, when we hear people saying, I know somebody who has COVID-19, how do we respond to them? How do we support our argument? I have to say, with what knowledge I have, because I don't have everything in front of me to read off to them, for example. I'm not going to remember all this stuff. So how do you argue or defend your argument with them to get them on your side? One believes me, one doesn't. One says, I think that it's real. So you don't think anybody died from it? No, I said no. If anything, they died from something else, and they're making it to be more than they want. And I always have to bring up, look at the rights they took from us, and you always have to support your argument with what they're going to do, if they get what they want. Now, we have to come up with obviously better, stronger arguments to get them on our side. Yet they still continue to, believe. While they may say, okay, we agree with you with the rights and all, and that they're trying to make the country this and that, but, we still think COVID-19 is real. And they're saying, I know somebody that died from it, or I know somebody that's sick. And I've heard this a couple of times. Now, most people I talked to said, I don't know anybody that has had it. How do we refute that? Is what I want to know. This is important if we're trying to win them over. I just don't want to talk at them. I want to be able to prove that I'm right, because we can't afford to be wrong, or we can't be able to afford to not be able to prove our case, based on assertions or just reasoning and hunches. We have to support it with real evidence, and this is what's hurting a lot of us, because if you're talking about ignorant people, trying to reason with a person that's ignorant, I didn't say stupid, ignorant, is still very hard to convince to get them on your side. I mean, they're going to believe later on when it's too late, but we need to believe them now and to get their vote if they're 18 or over. I don't believe the 10 days of darkness is going to happen all over the world, for example. There's no reason for it to happen all over the world. There is a reason for it to happen in the United States before the election. And yes, they would blame Trump again for that, for the electric grids going down. This will support their mail-in ballots that are going to be falsified or added on to like two people that's the same person voting for Biden and Harris. And many other things that you can expect and all with the election, and that it is going to be rigged. They saw how they lost last time. Okay, I think that Biden was told to pick Harris because she's female, because they think that Biden's a dum-dum and she's a female. We don't want a female vice president. No, the Democrats, liberals, and leftists are going to vote for them. And, they just want the Republicans and the other people that are swing voters to think, that way, and they still go, over to the side of Biden and Harris. That is my theory. And it's actually my belief as well, since we do know that fraud is definitely not probable. I believe it's going to happen. The fact is, how are we going to defeat them in November if there's going to be fraud? And we are talking about 1 million votes here. They already said, well, we already know who's all. They already have the record of everybody that's registered in the United States. I'm sure they've put it all together. Here's all the Republicans. Here's all those who are registered as their party. And then they see all the other people. If there are 330 million people in the country and 18 and over can vote, they don't care about a 17-year-old unless that 17-year-old is going to be able to vote. Like I know somebody, she's going to be 18 in September. She'll be able to vote. They don't know who she is, though. I do. I've been trying to convince her to vote for Trump. I've tried to convince other people that I see to vote for Trump. That doesn't mean that they will, but I'm trying to. I give them my YouTube channels and sources that I use, to persuade them. And these are just, if I can get 50 people to vote Republican that I've talked to in person, it helps. But I don't think it's going to be enough. By all means, we all need 50 times whatever 1 million is, or 2 million. So divide 2 million by 50. How many people do we all need to reach out to any way we can? If there were 59 million people that voted for Hillary, the witch, 4 years ago, let's expect that same number. But this time, I actually think we need to add on to that number and say, look, I think 66 million people are going to vote for Biden and Harris. We know that we need to do as best as we can, and we can never underestimate. Never underestimate your enemies. I have seen too many people that are complacent on the Republican Party side, that are going to vote for Trump, that say, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. I'm glad that you're so positive about this. But I'm not. We have to fight them with everything. You never, ever get complacent in saying, oh yeah, they're not going to vote for that dingbat. They're not going to vote for that pro-abort bitch and what they stand for and their socialism and communism. How do you know? I'm hearing a couple girls saying, I'm not voting for Trump because he's a womanizer or his hatred of women. These are females I know in their early 20s. Now that's only 2 of them, but let's say, a lot of females share their opinion and they won't vote for Trump for that reason alone, but no other reason, then they're going to vote for the other people. And if you don't vote at all, it's taking away from Trump and all, and giving them an edge, because if the numbers are too low on Trump's side by 10,000, and those 10,000 people didn't vote, you didn't win. That's all that matters, how we win. We'll do everything we got to do to win here, and you cannot be complacent about this. Don't act like you're going to win when you may not win. This time they're a whole lot more ready, is what I'm saying this year. If the UN and the evil agencies and and the New World Order system has come into play now to back Biden and Harris, this is a different ball game. This is not 4 years ago. Don't think it is. What are the 10 days of darkness? The electric grid, the internet. That's going to justify the mail-in ballots as well. As far as where we would normally have gone in to take the polls. But you can't trust anybody in the Democratic convention. Those who are going to be, in there, on the Democratic side, for voting, and fraud. Who's all going to be involved with this? How many people have their hands involved with this fraud? Okay, and they're talking about how the election, was ill-gotten by, Trump because of Russia. They're going to do the same thing with China and whoever else. Doesn't matter whether Russia had gotten their hands involved with the 2016 election. Who's got their hands involved in the 2020 election now is what we need to know. But we need to be ahead of them to cut them off, whoever they are. And it's going to be crucial. It's going to get down to the wire. We don't know how close this race is going to be. So don't make that presumption that we're going to win by a landslide. You can't do that. You cannot fall asleep on this. You cannot let your guard down. Would you do this in a war with your shield? You got the sword in the hand and the shield in the other. And it looks like you're winning the war. But you let your guard down, and you feel a sword plunge right through your gut. You're dead. Is what I'm saying. So you can't, as if you're on the side of Trump and the United States to keep America alive, at least as much as possible, for the next 4 years. Because you can't tell what's going to happen in the next 4 years. Some of us, in fact, quite a few of us in the United States today are not going to be alive 4 years from now. And there's going to be a heck of a lot more people, a hell of a lot more people that won't be here 4 years from now if they get in. You can count on that right now. Gates, Fauci, the New World Order, all those agencies that Gates has paid off. Well, you know who they are. I don't have to tell you that. Do the ignorant know? A lot of the ignorant know, and a lot of the ignorant don't know. That should be a wake-up call for them. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? We know, but they got to know. We already know what to do. We got to let them know what they have to do in order to keep the United States alive. The United States has a sword already plunged into it, but not in a lethal spot. It's hit a non-vital area, but there's a big wound and it's bleeding. Okay? And, the question is, can it heal? It can only heal for sure if Trump gets in. It will not heal and be fatal, and they will bleed to death. Basically, is what I'm saying. I'm using the human anatomy to describe, of course, America. Not Canada, not Mexico, but mainland America. Yes, that includes Alaska and Hawaii. It includes Puerto Rico and U.S. territories as well. But mainland America is the big target here, more than anything. This is why you see what's happening in New York and California, and then the biggest populous states, where there's more damage being shown. Okay, Michigan. Look, Texas and Florida are key states. Those most 10 populous states are very crucial to the life of America and any bits of freedom and liberty that we're still holding on to. We ain't going to be holding on to any liberty, freedom come November 3rd if they win. Kiss it goodbye. Then there are going to be riots on both sides. I'm all for whatever has to happen if Trump doesn't get in. You just don't sit back, oh, they won, we're done. No. Let's not be dead ducks for them. Then it's all out war. All out war. Okay? And I'm talking about much worse than what the Civil War was in the 19th century. This is going to be a bloodbath. And even though you might think there's two sides of it in the United States, there's actually quite a few sides. So it's going to be, and I don't like to say it this way because it sounds yellow, but it's not yellow. It's going to be every man, woman, and child out there for themselves. And how are many going to be able to defend themselves? That's what I'm really concerned about, so I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I'm giving you what I think can happen, and I hope it doesn't happen.